Flame! The source of the insufferable heat bursting from the shores of Raoji. Smoke, embers, and ash clouds choke the air with their suffocating presence. This wretched flame is coagulated into a roaring, fiery wall that stands vigilant against all the tumultuous ocean waves that attempt to destroy it. The fire has grown so intensely hot and widespread that not even a tidal wave could quench its ravenous hunger. But that did not stop the ocean from attempting to strike against these waves with furious effort, resulting in immense clouds of steam forming from the collisions. The ocean had known dominance over flame, and yet these flames had grown so tempestuous and enraged that this short-lived inferno, destined to burn out in an afternoon, could match the immense, immeasurable power of the oldest of seas. Those who set this fire stood on the precipice. They had prepared their ritual upon the spot where the grandest, most destructive of elements did combat. Fire could not spark upon the ocean water, yet the destructive ocean waves would simply evaporate before touching them. With the protection of the grandiose heat at their back, even humans could resist the approaching waves the great squid threw at them. To see one of their greatest powers, control over water, negated so barbarically was terrifying. The god could not flee, however. Their pride would not allow them. That which could not be washed away with water could be crushed under their might. Raging fire aside, the god swam rapidly towards the shore, with intent to kill the insidious rebels that would threaten their rule. And so the trap was sprung. One of the rogue figures stepped forward, a tall woman with molten fiery glow in her eyes, mimicking the flames before her. As she stepped, the spectator upon the rock watched every singular motion as she moved. He was curious to see if she could do it, if she could kill a god. When he first met her in that foreign land, she had boasted to their spectator that she and her people were capable of killing a god. He had seen her kill many things on their travels back to Raoji, and the true test of her abilities had finally come. As she approached further to the water, her cloak billowed. She had been silently chanting since the fire had been set, and as her opponent approached, her chanting began to increase in volume as a dark, foreboding circle began to appear around her. The spectator noticed that circle moving into the air like an oil falling towards the sky. That circle connected to itself in the air, forming a protective dome around her. Her chant changed tone after this. She was no longer chanting vague words of dark protection, but instead screaming, yelling chants of an unknowable nature at the great squid. The spectator felt hairs on the back of his head pricking up, and he instinctively stumbled behind the rock for protection as the other cultists approached their leader. They chanted along with her, all of them sprouting unworldly vitriol in the ritual, until the huge, pure energy could be contained no longer, and the very cosmos swirled from the woman in the circle. And all of this was centered into one singular point. A bolt of eldritch energy, a magic of iconoclasm, was flung from the ritual, incinerating all that came in its path. And when it impacted the squid god, they roiled. They felt the approaching danger of death for the first time in their life, and they screamed in the truest of mortal fears. The squid god could only fall backwards, flailing against the sea and shores as their body was ripped apart, and all that made them was torn from their mind and very being. The god was split straight in half, one half being sent to somewhere, the other simply being ripped apart and scattered. The process would take 5 days and 4 nights, but the unstoppable, unshakable death that was cast upon them would not falter, nor would it cease its consumption. The great squid was no more. Mortals had killed a god, and everything would change. Yet, as the ritual faded and the great squid fell back screaming into the sea, the woman fell to the ground. Her breathing was weak and heavy. She knew. She knew she had failed. The great squid was doomed, but she had felt its tenacity to live, its unquenchable will, and its immense strength. 100 years or 1,000, that god would lick its wounds in return. The legacy built upon its death, the greater good that would sprout from rendering this judgment, it would one day be threatened again. And when that time came, it would fall to someone else to stand against the wrath of the 13th god. presently, a traveler's returning home after years of absence. Tired steps crossing the Lancian border, she makes her way to the border gate, and past that is home.
Good old Raoji kind of takes a look around, almost taps the side of, this great stone gate. The same gate that she left through with an old weathered sword. Wonder how much it's changed. Probably very little. That's fine. She wanders back, an almost like nostalgic smile playing across her lips that's quickly suppressed as as other feelings begin flooding in. That of her departure, a little too hurried to ever say goodbye to the people that she cared about in her homeland.
The homeland itself seems very familiar. These sites, you can barely remember them from when you left. Some of the stones are still sitting where they were, the trees have grown and shed their leaves, branches fall upon the ground, but the scenery is unmistakable. And from that alone, you do know that Raoji, certainly, at least in the terms of nature, is exactly where you left it. It's still beautiful.
Sho reaches up and, grasps a petal that's flowing through the air. The camera pans around 3 times, focusing in on this shot. She lets it flutter free and, braces her sword to her side and puts her head down and wanders further into her homeland, mumbling to herself, "Flowers are blooming this time."
You continue traveling, moving forward, and find your way to your destination. It takes about half a day, but, well, rather conveniently, the man you seek to find is not one to be close to society either. His fate not too unsimilar of yours. And, despite that, he is a good friend. You take steps forward, moving into a beaten path, a lot smaller than the one you found, after crossing a large bridge, and now this stream has taken you forward. You notice a farm up ahead as you continue stepping, and it seems that, despite not really knowing how to follow the directions that got you here, you at least instinctually remembered coming to this place and managed to find your way back. Give or take a couple extra hours of searching.
Sho nods to herself, putting away the hand-scrawled note that she was handed on the way over, grinning proud. She puts it away. It's been held upside down. She's holding it upside down. That's fine. She wanders along, looking over at the brook that's babbling next to her. All of the flowers that have just seem to spring to life in this place. She starts to wonder to herself, she doesn't know if it's because she was in Lancia, but was Raoji always covered in so many flowers?
You consider this, and as you do, you approach, and an individual comes stumbling out with a few planks of wood, a hammer and a nail, seeking to repair a pile of crates that seem to break on the ground, living his normal rustic life.
This towering man has to, nearly crouch out of the doorway. Not just because of his height, but because of the horns as well. Before you include the horns, this man is nearly probably 6'7". He is a giant.
Seeing him clear the doorway, before she's noticed, Sho darts forward. Boo! She throws her arms open and actually throws, she tries to hug this guy. He is physically too large. Impossible.
It's like trying to hug a house. The big man barely moves from the impact. Wait a minute. Is that who I think it is? He just throws the boards into his cabbage. Is that you, Shoku?
Yeah, long time no see there, big guy. I see you made good on that whole getting a house thing.
I did. It's still too damn small. He looks back at the house he can barely fit in.
You remember coming down here in the past and he was camped up here in a tent with a small little field of cabbages, and now it's grown. Something did change. Buru, as a sign of that, even a little older since the last time you saw him.
You got more gray in your beard.
Indeed I did. And look at you. You're, actually what, average height now?
Yeah.
Not bad.
I mean, I have gained inches. She, you notice as she, measures her own height, flecks of color actually begin to form and, bounce around her translucent hair, quickly shifting to an almost, a flowing, almost flowery pink. And look,
Ooh.
I'm way more in control of, everything at this point. Before I left this place an unfortunate rapscallion, I come back a learned woman. She says, nodding to herself.
Look at you. This big toothy grin. And what's wrong with being a rapscallion? I was for a while. Well, actually, you may have a point. Thanks about that for a moment.
Well, being a rapscallion is all well and good, but at some point, I think you have to grow up, and in doing so, hold on. She reaches down and, quickly, shifts through her bag. I found this. She holds an old weathered book out to Buru. This I found over in Lancia. It's something that's known as the Tome of the Astral Mother. It's part of... Yeah, I know I wasn't exactly the most devout person when I was living in Raoji, but, maybe there's stuff I could learn in here.
Yeah, he picks up the book. It is laughably small in his hands as he delicately tries to thumb through it.
Now, here's the problem. I don't know Lancian script. She mumbles to herself a little to the side. I've been trying to find people to read this book to me because it's taught over here and I might have skipped my teaching a little bit to go fight.
A learned woman, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta learn somehow, and if you can't read the book, then you might as well find people to read it to you, right?
That's fair. But I think, in order for me to do that, I'll need something in return. A drinking buddy, come on.
Alright, you take steps on into your house then.
You see 2 large kegs of wine.
Hang on, let me get the roof for you.
Yeah, you do notice that there's multiple, holes in the roof. Probably from him, maybe standing up too quickly and impaling his horns into it. You see that there's multiple patchwork jobs to try and remedy this.
I still see that you are a menace to architecture everywhere.
Like I said, the house is too damn small.
Have you ever thought, and this is crazy, I know, she says, sitting down at the table, she notices that 2 of the planks have been punched out. Have you ever thought that you might be too damn big?
No.
Have you missed a single day of training? Ever?
I must admit, I don't train nearly as much as I used to. I gotta take care of the cabbages, billy goat, do a little bit of fishing, but one thing I don't miss every day, he sets down a mug in front of you, drinking. You may have grown a few inches, but so did I. He just pats his stomach.
She nods at that and actually lets out a chuckle. She grips the mug and raises it in one hand. Okay. To coming home.
Coming home.
They both pat their glasses together, and Sho surprisingly does manage to down it in one. How does Buru drink? Just curious. Just hit me with that.
Yeah, like it's pretty damn small in his hand. Basically, what is a mug to you is a shot to him. So it's like just slams it back and he's done.
Sho's sitting down, like legs folded, like very like set, dedicated. She slowly downs the entire drink, not letting it leave her mouth even for a second, and then puts it down a full 10 seconds after you complete yours.
Learned woman indeed.
I mean, Lancians are a little more crass when it comes to their culinary arts, so I had to lean on alcohol a bit more than I did back here in order to make it through a meal, but...
He, like, furrows his brow. They bad cooks?
They're not quite as good as, well, anyone that I'd know, anyone that you've known. Nothing...
He like, smiles like waiting for me, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll remind you how good Raoji cooking is. I gotta do a little bit of fishing. Well, is there anything in particular you'd want? I'm more than happy to, make something special for your return.
No, I'd love to...
Picks up your mug and tries to refill them.
I love nothing more than fish. I could actually help you out if you want.
Oh, wouldn't mind a fishing buddy. Haven't had one in a while. Bronze Bull doesn't get too many guests these days.
Really? I thought you'd be sought after with, you know... looks at the incredible crater in the cabbage field.
No. I've made sure to try and, leave that behind me as best I can. Anytime I do normally get guests, they want to fight me. He looks down at you. That doesn't seem to have changed much, because I can tell you're just itching for a fight.
Show coughs.
Yeah. You could learn something from your old man.
I feel like I've learned enough from him. Thank you very much. She stands up straight, walks over to the water, and sits down.
Oh, like reading, huh? He gives you a shitty grin and picks up this harpoon.
Lancian script is not taught in any school that I could have gone to, had I gone to school.
Yeah, I suppose. He, like, pokes the top of the javelin to inspect its sharpness and is pleased with it. But, wouldn't surprise me if your dad knew a thing or two. He is one smart guy.
Yeah, jellyfish swordsman got around. She's got a frustrated or more like resigned look. It's a difficult expression. Her face remains mostly stoic. Her hair absolutely betrays whatever's going on. Like the tendrils on the side of her face begin to wiggle ever so slightly.
Well, not to sound rude, I am glad that you're here, but, what brings you here? Did you come to me before your dad?
Yeah, actually. I got this. She holds up a letter, and I've been informed to stop. She looks at, like, when she goes, I've been informed about the letter, and, like, there's half a second of Baru just grinning at her. I've been told that this letter says that I'm allowed back in the country.
Oh. Well, great.
Yeah, no, not an illegal visit this time, she says, stretching slightly.
Yeah. Let me read that. Just to make sure that whoever told you was telling you the truth.
It reads, if you see this, kill this person on sight.
So Buru takes the letter delicately and examines it. I assume what she has been told is true.
Yes, there's more though.
Oh.
This is a letter given to Sho specifically in order to command her, or as a request. 1, she is granted amnesty, and 2, she is expected, if she would please be willing to, in reward for her amnesty. And that's a fancy way of saying you're going to do this so you don't get amnesty.
Yeah.
What you need to do is you need to report to a specific town for a specific mission of high importance. That town is named Hirano. And this mission of importance was given to her from none other than the Godly Council itself. The 12 gods have given her a specific command to come back to the kingdom, and they need her in Hirano to meet with a magistrate, or to meet with an associate sent there to meet with her.
Show stretches. Yeah, I got... Funny, is there anything more to that letter? The person
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
there is.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
the person I dueled, oh god, so I could only get this letter reading with a victory, and, they passed out once they got to the amnesty part, so if there's anything else in there...
There is. Boy, they left out pretty important shit. Yeah, no, he folds it up and hands it back to you. They want you back in Hirano to speak with the Godly Council. Doesn't sound like you hit to it sounds more like a yes, sir.
You can tell, like, Sho's hair color shifts again. You've known her long enough that she's probably thinking out, is there a way to get out of this? She's looking up and down the river. I hope my mom isn't gonna be there.
I do. She's a nice lady.
She is, and that's the problem.
Kids these days. Just throws the harpoon in the water.
So, I'm gonna go see the Godly Council. Maybe I could use a friend on the road? Attempted smile.
I would have been insulted if you didn't ask. Also, I would have just followed anyways. Admittedly, you would have noticed almost immediately, but that doesn't matter.
Well, that's completely acceptable. I much prefer you willingly, this being a partnership of some sort, so... It's the way I do things. She crosses her legs. What can I give you in return for your help here? For the fish, and for accompanying me to the Godly Council.
You know what? Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
He pulls out a small black book and writes something down in it and smiles and puts it away.
Suspicious. She her eyes, she squints at you, and you can feel her gaze penetrating through whatever you're doing. Now, I learned to always repay debts from a certain someone, so...
Well, alright. Let's see here. I guess the... Shoku, I don't really need anything. To be perfectly frank, I appreciate it, and I'm glad to see you understand the importance of, paying back to friends. But just having you here, and if anything, it's, I feel like I owe your father.
She like glares, she squints at you for another full second or two and then turns around, closes her eyes. Alright, fine. But if you see anything, looks back over at you with one eye, you let me know, okay? You feel anything you want? I'll do whatever I can to get it for you.
I'll keep that in mind.
It will most likely involve hitting someone with a sword.
Yeah. So long as it doesn't involve reading and likely involves hitting someone with the sword.
I think that's manageable. Actually, you know what? Once we finish up dinner here, he pulls back the javelin and there's a few fish on it. If you wouldn't mind helping me fix those damn crates.
Yeah, I can help with that at least.
It's like hitting a person, but it's a box and more constructive.
Yes. I take it you still haven't figured out the intricacies of holding back.
No. You know, I just kind of get into the swing of things and I just keep swinging harder and harder.
Oh, I'm aware. She says, looking at all the holes in the house.
That's actually just, that's not even, that's different.
As you two proceed into the house, you begin the rest of the afternoon. Though you have a mission soon enough, you spend that afternoon cooking and preparing for a good evening. Finally, a home-cooked meal after so long, and spent with friends. These yellow flowers are an eyesore. They represent many things. Joy, innocence, just a general happiness. And Hideo, as you stand there looking at them, collecting yourself before you head to the room of your master, the one you are charged to bodyguard for, you realize that these flowers are so out of place here. You haven't really felt anything close to extreme joy to warn a full flower bed garden in a while after taking on this assignment. And furthermore, your master has been reputably moody recently after you left the capital in a storm. He was very quiet and not particularly talking about why, only talking about the crimes committed against the family. He locked himself up in a room and you finally got a letter from the capital. After giving it to him, he threw it aside, didn't really consider it. Maybe he's read it, but more importantly for you, you got a letter from an old friend. Buru Okiyama. He had sent you something. He apparently wanted you to come and meet him in the town of Hirano. Supposedly something had gone awry. Something strange was going on, and he required your assistance. So, unfortunately, that means that in order to move mountains, or I guess in this case, to meet a mountain, you have to move Junya first.
So a mountain.
Another day. Another day.
As you take steps forward, you see the door at the end of the hallway and you approach. You can hear very slight sounds of movement on the other end, though what is actually going on, well, you'll just have to go in to see.
Hideo puffs up his chest a little bit, sort of like, gives himself a quick little, like, slap on the face. Master!
You...
You may enter if you wish. It makes a little difference to me.
Very well. Hideo sinks for a second and then gets back up.
Tell me, Hideo. Is it raining outside?
You and I both know that it's not.
No. This man who's like splayed on the carpet shifts to look further away from you. No, it is raining. The rain falls heavy upon my soul.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Come now! It's not so bad. And besides, I have a letter. A request from an old friend. Perhaps it would do you good to get out of this place.
A letter, you say? Why, I've already got one of my own, and that's one more than I need. From the capital. Oh, the capital. No doubt Furukawa wants to rub my nose in my own indignity.
Come now. This place isn't that bad. It's much nicer than everywhere I've ever been. It's
Junior
much
abruptly
nicer.
stands up and, whirls around. Indeed? Tell me, how do you find the flowers out there?
Hideo thinks in his head, I hate them. They're fake. They present a lie. They're lovely!
No, I hate them. They present a lie. They're just a reminder of what I've lost. A cheap imitation of the grace I once beheld in my hands. Oh. Some days I don't know how I summon the strength to go on, my old friend. No, indeed. No, indeed. Come, let us sit on the rug and tell sad stories.
The knife. Hideo just thinks about the knife that is coated away in his coat and how close his belly is. Come now. Look, it's not like you lost all of your things. You still have this map and your mirrors. And you didn't even lose the one that you keep over by your bed.
I suppose you're not wrong. The mirrors are some consolation.
You've got your robes, your silks, all of the finer things in life.
But not the one thing I wanted. It's now beyond my reach forever. Well, tell me of this letter of yours, then. Perhaps it will take my mind off of all that has been taken from me.
Hideo pulls out the letter, and kind of unfolds it in his hand. Well, I have been gotten in touch with by an old acquaintance. And he sort of turns it over. My presence is requested in Hirano. Perhaps you would like to come as well. I mean, I couldn't exactly leave without your say-so.
Are you quite all right? It sounded as if there was some heavy breathing at the end.
Yes, I'm fine.
Hirano. At this time of year, I suppose there might be something beautiful there, amidst all the drab peasantry.
It would be a nice getaway. A pleasant distraction from this place and the woes that they bring you. Like the flowers. Maybe you'll even come to appreciate them.
Hideo, I fear that woe may be my constant companion for the rest of my life. And yet, you're not wrong. These flowers, perhaps I too could one day bloom again. Perhaps one day the fortunes of the Yoshihara clan will turn around. Such a far, far distant prospect. The road there, scattered with clouds, with darkness, with unknowable challenges. But perhaps, with you at my side, old friend, perhaps I'm not without hope.
Yes!
Oh, Hideo, truly your wisdom is all that guides me through these dark times.
I'm so sorry. Well, then come, let's begin packing. You know, only the essentials.
Very well, then. If I may be seen in Hirano, they will see only perfection. Just the essentials, yes. Give me 3 hours should be sufficient.
Okay. And remember, we're going to be on the road, so the more you carry, or the more you have me carry, the more, the harder our trip will be.
Oh, yes, indeed. I appreciate your concern, Hideo, but of course, I won't be carrying a thing, so it's quite all right. Tell me,
no.
This robe or this robe?
You'll have to forgive me, I can't quite tell the difference between
Oh,
the
this
two.
one is hideous! Not at all flattering to my figure. No, I dare say not. Oh, very well. No, your mere presence is... it's too nervous. I can't pack like this. Please wait outside.
Holy shit.
As you wish.
Don't worry. You shall not be denied my radiance for long.
Take your time.
Oh my god!
Oh. You
Black
continue
slate,
packing.
7 hours later.
You keep packing, finding your things, and preparing for the journey. The note you refuse to read discarded on the sides. Its content, a plea of the Emperor to clear your exile so long as you go to Hirano and listen to a specific request given by a certain person, but you didn't read that, so who cares?
Oh my god!
And so, regardless, those two, the noble and their Yojimbo, prepare for the long journey, and they begin to find their way forward.